right, welcome back into another episode of Indiebnb. Today we are joined by a very special guest out of Utah. He is the personality Joey on the air. Joey Carson, thank you so much for joining
Hello.
us.
Hey, so glad I could be here, Grant. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
This
I
has
mean
been a
the
long time in the works.
For sure, for sure. It was early before the summer even started. I got you on the books. You're. I'm glad we could get it done though.
Me too.
Awesome. Well, you know, you hear that buttery voice, you hear him, he's a radio DJ, but, more importantly, I think where more people see him probably is, in your content and in your, really musical focused content, the 50 states, best bands from 50 states. He's got all kinds of content. I saw something about Lord of the Rings today. I mean, like you can find it anywhere on his page, but, if you're looking for good music, he's definitely a gentleman to follow. So, let's start there. I mean, the content, the reels and shorts. I mean, like, did we start that before we were a radio DJ? Did we become a radio DJ after that? Let's give me the background there.
So let's see. It started out, I was a DJ first. I was working for Red Rock Media in St. George, and I was DJing for a couple stations. I think back then it was, uh, I was like classic rock and 80s hits, and then I was top 40 in country, and then I went back to classic rock and 80s hits, which is where I am now. So I think I was doing maybe classic rock back then. And I don't know, I saw uh who was it? Brew on the radio. Do you know Brew? He's got a
No.
page. He's pretty big. He's like he works for I think an Odyssey station in LA and interviews like Olivia Rodrigo, like he's way up there. But I was like, maybe people are interested in radio DJ content. And so I started making like dumb videos like one was like your local radio DJ queuing up 10 AC/DC songs in a row. And it was like just, silly stuff like that. But then I've always been interested, well, I mean, since I was like a teenager in local bands and smaller undiscovered bands. I love going to local shows in my town. And I was like, what if I had some sort of platform where I could talk about music that I was into and just started going from there.
Got it. Got it. Well, was there one particular band you were like, if I could shout these guys from the rooftops and not get fired for playing them, like would they who was that band for you that you've
Man,
seen locally?
one of the early ones was a band called Malorilla. It was one of my first videos that really blew up too. They're a band from I think Ohio, and they have a really cool like I don't even know how to describe it, like bluesy surf rock sound. It's kind of psychedelic. I don't know. They're really cool. They were a wreck from another band that my old band played a show with, and
Mhm.
I was like, let me check these guys out. And then I heard them and I was like, everyone needs to know about this band. So they were one of the first ones I did a big video on, and it took off. It was like, oh, maybe there's like some real legs here, maybe there's a kind of a hunger. People want to hear about this kind of music. And so that's sort of got me on the trajectory.
I gotcha. I mean, I think like there's something to be said about being the guy that's like, yeah, have you heard of this band? And then no one knows it, but then they listen and they're super intrigued and like they're
Oh,
able to
man,
get that. And
it's
you probably
intoxicating.
provide that.
I
You probably
live for
provide that for
that.
everybody. You probably are
you
like,
know,
hey, I told people about that one.
a lot of my friends in real life have like we have similar music tastes where like there's some overlap, but a lot of the stuff they like is different. And so a lot of the
Yeah.
stuff I send to them, they're like, that's whatever. And so I'm like, maybe there's people out there who are just like me who like my same style of music. So,
Yeah.
and I mean, it's very narcissistic, but it's like it hits like crack when someone's like, "Yo, I just checked out Geese because of your videos, and like they're awesome." I'm like, yes,
So
yes,
I got a
yeah.
good geese. You were like the first one to say geese in my ether, and then I
Yeah,
kind of went to I have some buddies who are very big widespread. Southeast were widespread. Were all of those like kind of southern jammy bands, and he's really into those. And I was like, hey, like what do you think about this band? Like, and I said goose instead of geese, and like he goes goose, no, you don't want to listen to Goose. And like he really did not like that I said that. And so then he was like, you mean geese? Geese is good. Geese is good. And I'm like, okay, so geese yes, goose
That's-
no. I'm like,
yeah,
okay. So, but got to check out a little bit of geese, and I've liked what they're putting down. I mean,
yeah.
I think it's just an interesting kind of thing because like the bands that they come out of nowhere, and then nowadays it's not like the record company's telling us who to like. It's we get to choose a little bit
Hmm.
more, and so it's just there's more opportunity for everybody. Like, anybody in particular that you've seen lately that you're like really high on, that you're like, man, I gotta get them. I gotta figure out a way to put them out on the page, in a good, entertaining way.
One band that I've been shouting out a lot was the band Doom Gong. They I saw, so I put them in my, oh gosh, where are they from? Kentucky? I think they're from Kentucky. And
Yeah,
I found them doing my, coolest bands from Kentucky video. And I was like, wow, they've got such a cool sound. And then they played at Treefort Festival in Boise this
sure.
year, one of my favorite festivals, and got to see them live. And it blew my mind. And so ever since
Yeah,
then, I've been like, okay, Doom Gong is a great band. They've got a really cool psych rock sound. If you like, I mean, they've got a couple albums that sound very like 2010s King Gizzard. So if that's a style you like them too.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Tree Fort, it's something I did an interview for another show I do, but Connor Kelly and the Time Warp, they were at Tree Fort,
Yeah,
and they told me that festival is like unbelievable. Like,
they're
just,
cool.
you met them?
I've DM'd back and forth a little bit. I like their music.
Yeah, they're good guys. They're from up there in Nashville, but for you, like, finding these bands for the 50 states thing, like, there's got to be a lot of work and research that goes into that. Like, how what is the process? Where do you
Oh
start?
man.
I know you have. I saw the submissions, and believe me, I'm commenting on there, hey, perfect animal, perfect animal, Georgia. Yeah, I'm trying to put my buddies on, but um
Absolutely.
what's the process there?
So, man, it can be kind of exhausting, but it's really rewarding at the same time. But usually, I mean, people get after me. They're like, "Where's Michigan? Why haven't you done Michigan yet?" And it's
Yeah,
like, I would love to put them out more often because they're great for me too. They're my best performing videos, I think. People seem to really connect with the series, but it takes me like weeks to do one of them.
yeah,
Because I have this Google Doc that I started way back when I started the series, which I think was like fall 2023. So it's been up for
wow,
about 2 years now, and it's accumulated 2 years of submissions. Every time I post another video, it gets to a whole new group of people, and people submit the bands from where they're from. And so I think by now it's almost like 10,000 submissions on there, which is too many. That's too many bands. So that's like roughly 200 to 300 for every state.
wow,
So whenever I'm planning for a video, what I'll do is I will go through the spreadsheet, the Google form, whatever. I've never got to explain this in detail before, so I'm kind of excited.
yeah,
This is big for me, like process. So then I'll put all of the bands into a playlist, and like I'll just go on Spotify and take like their top 5 songs, top 3 songs, or whatever, and compile them all in this giant playlist. And then I'll listen through over the course of the next week. Whenever I'm like out on my morning walks or at the gym, I'll be like listening, and I don't listen to the full songs unless like I really like it. A lot of the times, like I don't know, this maybe people will get mad at me for this, but sometimes you can tell in the first like 15 seconds you're like, this is
yeah,
not. Like sometimes it's just really bad or really boring or just really not my style. If it's like just a very very poppy, very like I'm just like it's not really my jam unless it's like really unique. I'm not going to talk about that.
yeah,
I like pop, but my page is more rock and band focused. So then I listen through and I create a second playlist where I take my favorite bands out of that 300. Usually it's like 40 or 50 on a smaller playlist, and then I'll listen through that one a bunch until I'm like, okay, these are my power players. These are the ones I like the most. I'll go deep into their catalogs, listen to like, whole albums of their stuff. And then finally, when I find like the top 5 that I like the most, those are the ones that make it into the video. And then they'll have, honorable mentions too. And then sometimes I'll have to do like supplemental research. There's all sorts of great local music blogs, sometimes local record stores or like the arts column of a local newspaper will post about like, up and coming bands from Arkansas. And so I'll read those and go there and listen to those ones. And because sometimes like um I mean no offense intended, but like I'll go through all the bands submitted and be like that can't be it, like that can't
yeah,
be, that can't be all the ones like sometimes it's really hard. It's like, man, there's so many really good ones from the state, and sometimes if it's like a smaller scene or not as well developed, there's just not as much to work with. Um, which and like no shade at all. I think there's like a category of band that I'd call like a bar band, where like if you're at a
Sure.
bar or a restaurant and they're playing in the corner, you'd be like, man, these guys are awesome. But like not really the kind you'd listen to at home. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Um, so anyway,
I
it's
love
a
that.
long process, and then those are the five that make it into the video. It takes
I mean,
forever.
it's like the NCAA tournament of
Yeah,
bands for 50 states. Guys, let the guy have a couple weeks to maybe walk his
I
dog and
know.
like get
Let me
relax a little bit.
breathe.
You know, the guy's
Yeah,
not going to get to all of them. He's not cranking them out at once. He's got a day job.
I
But
know.
I mean, that's amazing. You got to get you breaking it down like that. Um, I'm sure that there are ones that you end up in that 40 to 50 range that you're probably bands you would go see, but you just get they didn't end up getting to that that top five range.
Absolutely. Yeah. I like them. I think they're really good. A lot of the time, it's like I don't know. I mean, it just comes down to like personal preference, and sometimes there's no good
Hmm.
reason why I chose one band over another. It's just
Yeah.
I just vibe with their sound more, and if I saw this band live, I'd love them, and I like their
Hmm.
songs, or they're like sometimes there's a couple bands in a scene that are similar. They have like a really similar sound, and then it's kind of like, okay, which one do I pick? The one that's got maybe more music out there, or the one that's just got a little
Yeah.
something that makes them stand out a little bit more than the other. So I don't know. It's hard, and I feel really guilty sometimes only choosing five. I'm like, I don't want to hurt feelings, and I don't want anyone to feel like I hate them because I didn't put them in the
Yeah.
video. But
Well, you heard it here first. He doesn't hate you if he didn't put you in the video. It just, hey,
yeah,
like
exactly.
there
Finally,
was one reason or another you didn't make it. Keep making music.
absolutely.
Somebody you probably gained a fan through this. By Joey listening to you, somebody you got popped up on somebody else's algorithm through that.
Mm,
It's all the streams. Even it out. I think at some point or
yeah.
another. But
And sometimes
um,
bands will, I'll hear them the first time around and be like, I'm not really feeling it. But then I'll keep them on my radar. And then, in 6 months, they'll put out a new EP. And I'm like, whoa, where did this come from? This is like totally different from their other stuff. I love this. So
yeah,
absolutely, like stick with it. And like at the end of the day, like people have this weird reaction sometimes where they're like, not to like make myself seem more important than I am, but where they're like, oh my gosh, like this guy is the arbiter of taste, and if he doesn't say a band in this video, then then they suck, or he hates them, or they like might as well not exist. And it's like, no, there are like so many great music pages out there who cover different bands than I
yeah.
do, and like go follow them. Like I talk about my bands, they can talk about theirs. There's plenty of room in the music space.
Certainly, certainly. I mean, I think like there's definitely a an acquired taste for certain music. I mean, like I think
Hmm.
things that I probably would like, you're not going to like as much, right?
Sure.
Dry Cleaning is a band that not a lot of people like because it's just a unique sound and it's pretty weird, like
I don't know dry cleaning.
yeah, Dry Cleaning. They're from the UK, so they're gonna. I think you got to finish the 50 states first, and then you got to get
Yeah,
you'll
move
get you'll
overseas.
expand overseas. But um, with you being a radio DJ, like how often are you trying to sneak? How tempted are you to sneak in? Some things that you like. Hey, let me throw a King Gizzard song on the radio. Let me see what happens here. Like, I mean,
Man, not to put my employers on blast or anything, but the stations that I DJ for, it's in like a St. George, Utah is where they're located.
mhm,
It's Classic Rock 1041 Zion FM and 98.9 Cool FM.
yeah,
And the formats for the station are pretty cut and dry.
yeah,
It's like one's classic rock, one's 80s hits, and you really don't branch out. And we have like a set catalog of songs that we get the rights to specifically, and in like our
okay,
software, the way it works is when you schedule them in the software, it automatically produces a report. That report goes to like ASCAP and BMI to send them portions of your money, depending on the songs you
okay.
use. That's how they get paid for like us playing them on the radio. And so I I brought this up a lot of times. Like, what if we had a little segment where we? And it's always like, maybe not yet. I don't know if St. George is ready for that kind of heat. I think they are, but you know, I'm not the one. like with a financial stake in the company. So
Sure.
yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if to me, it doesn't matter to me if the station underperforms because I played 3 hours of King Giz in a row. But it might it might hurt your advertising
Yeah.
budget. But I'd love to at some point have like a, what if we did like, 15-minute block at
Yeah.
1 p.m. in the middle of the day when like, the numbers or listens are a little down, we'll put in some weird stuff. I think that could be fun. And
Yeah.
I think if it
Somebody on
was
like
like,
mount on top of the mountain skiing, they're like, "Oh man, what is this?
yeah, yeah,
You just played
exactly.
Betty Davis eyes, and now we're ripping a guitar like what with King Gizzard? I don't know what's going on
Yeah.
here."
I feel like, if you could be sneaky about it, right? Like if you were
Mhm.
playing like Beach Boys or whatever, and then you snuck in a Lemon Twig song, and then you're like, by the way, you might not have recognized that one. That's because it's new. People would be like, "Oh, hey, that wasn't so bad." Yeah, I don't know.
I love it. I love it. Well, I mean, how like what is your discovery vehicle usually? I mean, like you mentioned some you listen, you just do some research, you find obviously you get this giant Google sheet. Like you mainly like what's your algorithm like on Spotify? Your Discover Weekly, is that something you put stock into, or is it
Mm,
pretty like you've got a lot of things going on in there and it doesn't automatically line up with your taste? Like talk to me about that.
yeah, I used to be really big on Discover Weekly playlist. I
Hmm.
think like 3 years ago, that was my number one way of finding new songs. That's how I found, I think probably King Gizzard and maybe like similar bands like that was like my first kind of brush. And same with Idols and Viagra Boys,
Uh,
other bands like that that I like. I was like, oh, cool. 'Cause, they're like more popular
sure.
enough to sort of catch that Spotify wave. Um, but lately, I almost never even open the
Yeah.
playlist, which maybe I should, because sometimes it's like random. They serve up good stuff, but my my stack, my backlog of stuff I need to get to is so like overfilled at this point. I get I don't know. I think the main way I find music to listen to is from music writers.
Hmm.
I follow a lot of people who write for like, Pitchfork and Paste and
Sure.
Brooklyn Vegan and stuff like that. And they'll share stuff. Um, a lot of bands that I've like talked about before, like The Max, a band I love from Portland. They'll send me, they'll be like, hey, we have a new album coming out September 25th. You want to check that one out. And so I'll get that one on my radar. And so I have like lots of pre-saved albums from local bands
Yes.
that I'm like, okay, I got to listen to that when it comes out. But I'm so like so far behind. I have so many to listen to. But
I
I shouldn't say that I have to, that I get to
Yeah.
listen to, because I
Yeah.
really do enjoy it. But sometimes I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm ever going to get to all this stuff.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, we've had, 140 plus on this show. Again, I follow all of them on Spotify, so I get the pre-saves and all of that. And like,
Yep.
there's a lot. Like, I mean, and then there's bands that like I just like in general, like Big Thief. Like they
Uh-huh.
just put out the thing last Friday. Like I just got through that. Like, trying to get through all of it. And then I get people, telling me they know I do this, and they're like, hey, like you should check out this band Molchet Dama from like
Yeah.
overseas, and like it's the wildest sound you've ever heard. And I'm like, all right, well,
As
let's
when you're
go.
in music, I bet this happens to you too a lot, but people will just be like, "Hey, you should listen to this." People just send you tons of recs.
Yeah, which I appreciate because I think like
Me
some of them,
too.
like I think they just got the messaging feature on Spotify. I got my first message from one of my buddies, and he was like,
Cool.
"You think you get these guys on the pod?" And I look, how many monthly listeners they have, and that's pretty much determines like what whether they're a possibility or not. So
Yeah.
unless I got like a contact to like a PR person, but yeah, it's interesting.
I
It's
was going to
interesting
say,
where we're in. Yeah,
oh, sorry.
go
I
ahead.
was just going to say the one way that I find a lot of bands too is from tours.
Yeah,
And because a lot of times, what's it called? So, like, The Gift is a band I talked about and saw at Kilby Block Party who was really good. They recently were on tour with the band called Sunflower Bean, and I was like, oh, let
love
me
them.
check them out too. Sunflower Bean was awesome.
They're awesome. Yeah.
Geese is like my favorite band right now. They're touring with a band called Racing Mount Pleasant and another one on their tour. I can't remember, but they're great too. And so seeing, the side projects of artists you like and the other bands of artists you like and the people on similar tours or who they're playing shows with, their openers, is a great way to, I find a lot of bands that way.
I love it. I love it. Well, for those listening and around, there you have it. The master himself, Joey Carson, dropping some knowledge on
That's the secret formula.
how's he
Yeah.
finding these people? Where would he find them? Well, a couple other segments we like to do on this show, and again, this has flown by. Of course, this has been so much fun. We like to go in and last thing you searched on Spotify. I'll do the same. We'll
Let's
both
see.
eat the poison pill together. And look, it'll be something embarrassing. It'll be something fun, but
Oh, thank
last.
goodness. It's cool. It's a cool one.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, the last thing I searched was Maruja, which I just realized I've been saying wrong. I kept saying I'm from the Southwest, so I always said Maruja, which is not
Maruja.
not how you say it. It's Maruja. They're like a Irish, I don't know if you know, like a jazz fusion
Oh,
post-punk band. They're really cool. They got a new album coming out tomorrow, actually, September 12th, and
yeah.
I was
All
trying to
right.
find out when it released. That's
There it is. There it is. Well, I had just watched the Vermont video, so Greg Freeman was what I was looking up and trying to
Greg
find
Freeman.
the trying to find the song that you'd witnessed. But I'll throw a few out there. Boys that my buddies had my phone the other day, and I got a little Bad Bunny action on here, DTMF, and then Lowen, who's an artist who's been on our show, and I just saw her live a couple weeks ago, and was trying to recapture the glory from the live show the next day. So
Oh man,
those are my
that
couple. But
feeling, trying to chase the high.
one of my things, like, I don't know about you, but like when I go to a show, I'm like, man, if I could just get the set list every time, or like if there was
Yes,
if somebody whose job it was to just go on Setlist FM, not because I want to see it before the show, but just the research after. It's like, man, that one that they
exactly.
played, I'm
What was
like,
that one song? Yeah,
fuck. Like,
that should just
um,
the band manager just pop it up there after the show,
yeah.
or the tour manager.
Yeah, I actually tried to become like one of the like people on that, and it's like kind of hard to do. Actually, it was way
Yeah,
harder than I thought it was going to
I've
be.
always wondered like who does that because it's
Yeah,
like so fast. I just saw Men I Trust with my wife in Salt Lake,
yeah.
and there's a section of the show where they played a bunch of their songs from an earlier album in like a medley, like 30 seconds of each one, all blending into the other. It was really cool, and we were like, "What song was that? Like, was that just sound like a lot of their songs?" And then like later that night, like an hour after the show, we pulled it up, and it's like, "Oh yeah, that was the
Pop, pop,
medley
pop,
from
pop,
this album."
pop.
And I was like, "Oh my gosh." How do
Yeah.
they do that? Who does that? Who's like, all right, like in the show, taking notes of what songs they're playing, and then immediately after going to upload them to set list. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's I wish that I don't know. Again, I tried to do it. I think I tried to put I tried to put a buddy's band on there, and like I think that was also like you got to have some kind of more credentials of some kind. I don't know, but
Mm,
God bless the people who do it. That's the number one
seriously,
thing.
they're heroes,
But
unsung.
yeah, for sure. Well, we'll wrap this up here, obviously, with the last segment, Pete Peterson's party pack of questions. We've talked a lot about music, Joey. Now we're just going to talk about a bunch of random shit and see what you like and what you dislike. So, we'll wrap
Yeah,
it up here and get out of here. But Pete Peterson's party pack of questions, 20 questions right in a row, rapid fire. Cake or pie, Joey Carson?
pie, easy.
He's pieing it up. I like it. All right,
Yeah,
salad or soup?
soup.
Okay, he's from a cold climate. That makes
Yeah,
sense. Yeah.
try not to overthink it.
I love it. Sunrise or sunset? What are you seeing more of?
Got to be sunsets for
Sunsets.
me.
All right.
Yeah,
Loves the golden hour. Let's go. All right. Home run or a touchdown? What are you more inclined to do?
it's to do. I mean, I've never been a big baseball guy, but I
Oh,
there's something very American, very fall, very autumnal
yeah.
about a touchdown. That's my vote.
All right. I love it. All right. Or night in or night out? What are you having more of?
I mean, since getting married, mostly a lot of nights in, just watching the Great British Bake Off and the new season of The Bachelorette that's coming out soon.
All
Big fan
right.
of that.
He's
Yeah.
fired up. Let's go. All right. When you do go out, though, and your jam comes on, more likely to hit the robot or the worm on the dance floor?
I'm a robot kind of guy. I don't know if I have the core strength to pull off a worm. I've never tried, and I'm worried it could be disastrous if I
All
if I
right.
tried to go without any practice.
Hey, fair enough. Fair enough. All right, guac or queso at your favorite Tex-Mex spot?
Gosh, gotta be guac. I love the freshness. Queso, I think, can be too heavy sometimes.
Certainly, certainly. All right, waffles or pancakes?
Waffles.
All
I
right.
love the crisp edges.
Gotta have it. The golden inside. We'd love that. All right, coffee or tea with your waffles?
Tea. I love a good tea. Lemon ginger, I think, is my favorite, especially for being on the radio. I love
Mm,
the soothing vocal cord power it has.
that's how he keeps the buttery voice, ladies and
That's right.
gentlemen. It's got to be lemon ginger tea. All right, dogs or cats?
Tough question. I love both. I'm gonna go with dogs.
All right, love it.
Yeah.
Ninja or a pirate? What do you identify more with?
Uh, pirate. I love pirates.
All right, he's get him a bottle barrel of rum. Let's go. All right, chips or pretzels?
Ooh, you mean like little snack pretzels?
Every pretzel. That's a
Every
good
pretzel.
question. So you got the soft pretzels, you got chips, you got all kinds of chips. You got the salt and vinegar, all the flavors.
I'm gonna go with chips. Chips could be an everyday food. Pretzels, I don't think I like pretzels. Couldn't have one every day. That'd
I
be too
love that.
much.
Love it. All right, fries or tots?
Fries are always at a certain baseline. There's some great ones, some not so great ones. Great tots are amazing. Bad tots are really bad. But I'm gonna go with
Yeah.
tots just
All right, I
because
love
that high, nothing comes close to it.
it. If you get a good tot, there's nothing like it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, TV show or a movie after a long day at the station?
Movie. I'm a movie guy for sure.
Yeah. What are you putting on?
I mean, for rewatch value, Jurassic Park, just the first one. I could watch that movie 1,000 times, never get tired of it.
Love that. Love that. All right. You live near, you've said you're from the Southwest. I mean, Area 51. Are aliens real?
Absolutely. No question.
Okay.
Yeah. Never
Awesome.
seen one. No, not even a UFO, but I'm a believer.
I love it. All right. Bigfoot. Is that real?
Okay, good question. I I think no. I'm going to say no because I feel like if there was, we'd have better footage. Everyone's got cameras on them 24/7. Not one credible sighting in like 20 years.
Yeah.
I can't buy it. I'll
Can't
change
believe
my
it
mind
either.
with new evidence though.
I love it. Reserve the right for sure. That's what I do.
Yeah.
All right. Is love at first sight real?
Um, yeah, I think so. Maybe for some people. Not
Yeah.
my experience, but I think it's probably real.
I love it. I love it. And the final question to Pete Peterson, you've given us a ton of bands already, but look, I got to ask for two more. Give me two more bands that we ought to check out that we might not know.
Okay. Okay. Do you mind if I take a second and look at some stuff I've been
Certainly.
liking lately?
Yeah. And you can plug your band if you want.
Oh.
If y'all are still ripping.
We're not together anymore. Tough story. Tough
Oh,
times.
man.
Um, okay, couple bands that you should check out. I'm gonna shout out a band from Utah that they call their genre terror funk, and they're called Seeking the Sun. They're really cool. And then another cool band that I've been liking lately is called Population 2. Check them out. Seeking the Sun and Population 2. That's like Roman numeral 2.
Oh, yes. All right. Seeking the Sun, Population 2. Joey Carson, Joey on the air. Go follow him. Go like all his stuff.
Man,
Send
thank
him
you so
200
much
more.
for
Send
having
him
me
200
on.
more things. Send him 200 more
Send
bands
me
that he's got to
from
check
your
out.
state. Seriously, pad that thing out. There's
Yeah.
always stuff that slips through the cracks. I'm always
Yeah.
happy for more
Yeah.
recommendations.
The main listenership of this pod is Georgia. We're Atlanta based, so
Let's
we got a good
go.
scene. We got a
I
good
don't think I've
scene.
done Georgia yet. That video's still coming. So get him in before I do the video.
Oh, I know you haven't done Georgia yet. I don't want to get.
I know
I wanted to make sure I
you've
heard
been
the
patiently
process.
waiting.
I wanted to make sure I
Yeah.
heard the process before I gave you shit about not doing Georgia, because like I knew that there was way more to it than just like, yeah, he's just gonna point at the map and put somebody in here. But
They got a couple.
everybody check out
Yeah.
Joey
What
online.
part of Georgia are you from?
Atlanta.
You're from
Atlanta.
Atlanta. Okay.
Yeah. So we got a great scene here, a lot of great little bars and clubs, and it's just a fun time to be here because I think it's just like there's so many. I'm plugged in with a fair amount of the people who are booking shows, which that in and of itself, I've talked to a few of them. They've been on the show. Our three main venues, the Masquerade, and then the bigger company that does the Eastern is like our biggest main venue, and then Smith's Old Bar. So it's like kind of getting the different cap size rooms and talking to them about their process. Like it's just
That's cool.
interesting to me, you know.
That's so fascinating to me too. It's like I mean, it's a whole science the way they have it all figured out.
Yeah, it's fun to I asked because I'm in business myself, but like I always am curious like how what the economics are of it, like how do they who do they make money on, who do they not make
Mm,
money on, how does it work, like and again I know it's not like obviously it's about the art at the end of the day, and but I think like there's that crossover that's just so curious and interesting, but
yeah.
but Joey, thank you so much for coming on, brother. I
Hey,
appreciate it.
thanks so much for having me on the show. I had
Yeah,
a blast.
awesome.